Hi there. Today I'm gonna talk about dorks, nerds, and geeks, or dork geeks, whatever, and bullies. I try to make a difference. I try to. I'm gonna try to delineate, to characterize dorks and nerds and geeks, but I think they're the same. They just act slightly differently, or they look, but they look the same also. And bullies. The differences between them and how they actually relate and they might seem as if they're the same person. I don't have an expertise in this, but I I've obviously experienced them like everyone else. Um, Probably the most aware of them I was probably in high school or even before high school. The last 2 years, like seventh and eighth grade. But at the time, and again even in high school you're not that, but especially before high school you don't have a defined self really. It's so structureless, you're aimless, groundless, whatever. But in high school you kind of have to take a position, right? And even if it's not authentic or super authentic, it's not you, even if it's imposed on you like it was on me sometimes. I was always smart, but not like a geek, you know. And I was just a guy with some edge. I wasn't that complex. I mean, you cannot really be that. You're in high school. You're just you're just a teenager, you know. Sorry, this shit is for screen, but reflects, and I cannot see my eyes. It's unnerving. Anyway, the cool thing that I respect about myself is that I stood my ground and I tried to be myself in terms of, I don't know, even clothing or how I made my hair or whatever. And people copy that a lot of times, and I'll be like, at first they will comment, you know, they will make slight comments and shit, but then the next day they have the same haircut or they will dress like me, and it was like, fucking pussies. Anyway, but going back to like nerds and geeks and whatever. Now I do have in in my face here, because I googled to see what Google and people online think about them. And for the most part, they have, you know, positive statements to make about them, as if they're just almost flawless and super misunderstood, you know. And only bullies are like just bad people that might or might not have redeemable qualities, right? And so again, before high school, I just don't care. I don't even remember. I don't remember from high school really, like names and, but I remember how I felt, kind of, and some instances that made me think like, fucking nerds, man. Like, why do people like think of them as like this nice and actually genuinely smart people? They're not. They're not at that time. But even now, like they finish a college. Let's say they also went to college, right? I dropped out. I don't care. I was tired of. I'm gonna explain that, but I was tired of like being in a box. That those fucking memes are real, right? Paying to be there and have to suffer. Really have to suffer the people and the bullshit and the fact that I don't really learn anything. I went to a psychology college, right? And I was like, okay, I'm kind of like aimless here. I don't really know where to start with psychology. You know, early 20s or before 20s even. And I was like, oh, they're gonna help me. Bullshit. No. They don't. They don't give a fuck. They only talk about family shit. I mean, where I went, right? And when they're serious, they're too serious about it, about the subjects, and it feels too dry, and it's like competition, and you're not gonna win. They make alliances between themselves, and all of them they were older than me, like older, like past 40s. Some of them already finished college abroad, and but they came here for another PhD or something. I don't know exactly. What really made me like one key moment was that I was at at a crossroad, and was this old hag, this teacher that just like probably like 70 or something, or I don't know exactly, probably 60s, but she looked older, and she was like a bitch, she's just bitchy. And I don't like that trait in people, men or women, whatever. And she wouldn't teach anything and whatever. And again, you have to pay every semester. You have to pay more. And those people that you have to pay, they're bitchy too, and it's fucking annoying to even pay. It's like, why do I pay? And then anyway, I was at the crossroad, and there she stops at the time, 2017 or whatever, 2016, probably, I don't know, with her car, and it was at the time, I don't even know. I'm not a car guy. I don't know anything about cars. But it was the latest BMW, and that made me like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I can study psychology myself, and I'm not even that interested in psychology. It's like one of the least interesting thing for me, really. Human mind and everything, and human behavior and human nature. I have other things to like. Fuck this, and I dropped out, and then pandemic hit, and yeah. But going back to nerds and bullies, yeah, bullies are often seen as bad, and there's always usually negative connotations with minimal redeemable qualities, or like presupposed redeemable qualities. Like they're not gonna, and they usually are not until after high school. They change into a normal regular person. They know that they cannot bully if they want to keep a job, if they want to be integrated in society at large. Nerds don't change, really. I think nerds are nerds for life. They can be socially ostracized, even, right? They can have bad luck, so to speak. They don't care. That's them. It's ingrained in them. And there's some things that bother me, that, some almost like myths at this point, but real ones, right? Again, assumed real ones that are positive towards them. And that irks me because I've met them, I knew them. Now, there's one thing that I want to point. I was never friends with anyone there, right? I decided from the get-go, from the start of high school. I don't care about high school. I don't care about anybody. I don't care about being friends. Because even if they were like meeting me after high school, they were not friends. Now they're not friends anymore. Even even people from the same city or whatever the fuck, they just not. But there was a different thing with them. It was just like they're not your friends irregardless. Not even here. They just pretend. That's the thing about nerds. They're fucking fake. They're fake because they have no verticality. They have no backbone, basically. They're fucking snakes. Slimy, weird. They have no reluctance, no qualms into betraying you. That's a trait that I've seen in them, that I've experienced myself, and I was like, I thought we were on the same team. And they betray usually to bullies, right? In hopes that they will not get bullied, but it doesn't really work. They still get bullied. Maybe not that day, but um, and sometimes they have this audacity. And I say audacity because, like women, right? They don't have, usually, they're not brave or courageous or confident in themselves. There's no, again, no backbone. So they have the audacity, right? That usually the bullies offers them because they offer protection for that day or whatever. All those things that I listed out, confidence or whatever, those have positive connotations and contexts, right? You're confident because you stand up for yourself or somebody or something ideal or something concrete. It doesn't matter. They don't. And again, like women, they just have audacity. Like a chick that just says whatever and you don't even know her. And it's like, how dare she, right? The same with those fucking nerds and geeks and dorks. How dare they? Fucking pussies. Like, and it had to happen. And the thing was that there were a lot of them. So they were like kind of popular kids and the dorks and geeks and nerds and bullies, right? They maintained that. And again, I was just like a guy. I was the most different one because I was the most normal one. But I was, I was made to be felt to feel like an outcast, right? Almost emo. But I was never emo. That's not my aesthetic, and it's not bad, but it's not me. Um, and looking back and looking now, because I've met some of them, I don't say anything. I don't give a fuck. Um, I don't think it's worth my while. Again, when we're not friends, they're not friends, and they're shit people. But looking at them is like all of you were kind of like not kind of like you were um, nerds more than I could ever fucking be. We all have our nerdy things about us, probably women. I cannot really think about women in what way they can be nerds, really, if they're not actually full-fledged nerds. But men, what, as an example, I think it's pretty commonplace to collect things like coins, posters, you name it, right? If women do that, I don't think it's a nerdy thing. They just do it. That's a very womanly thing, collecting, Taylor Swift, March, all of them, all the colors, everything, all the vinyls, all the that is not really nerdy. It's again, unless they're nerds, and you can tell they're nerds, you just can tell by the looks of it and what they wear, how they think. Again, I have here some info about nerds and bullies or whatever, and I want to go through them and see and compare to my thinking about them really, which I think is more accurate and more real or realistic at least and precise, right? So I have here like I just I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? So dorks qualities again, even from my end, positive connotations. Just give me qualities, not necessarily bad traits or good traits or whatever. Just kind of neutral in a way. A dork likes things that aren't cool, but he makes them cool, right? In his mind, but isn't necessarily obsessed with them like a geek or smart about it like a nerd. There's this thing, right? There's this like weird, just common assumption that nerds are just automatically smart or automatically do things to be smart. They usually are smart, and I've read this from, and I thought about this myself, but I read it in a book by Nassim Taleb, right? And he said mathematicians are born, not made. And it's so true. I'm smart. I can get good at math if I want to. And I got good grades eventually, at the um, end of the road, right? So to speak. Because I put in effort, but I just never cared. I never cared. And again, I can get good at math, but that's it, good. Because I don't have a mathematical mind. Some people have, and that implies that has probably many implications, right? Not only that they can compute and work with mathematical problems and equations and whatever, but they have an affinity and a desire towards it that an average person, which I qualify as too, is not. I don't care. It's too dry. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't help, right? My life. I have AI now. Like I can, just tell a problem if I need, and it will solve it. And basic, calculator that just calculates things for you. So I don't need, um, yeah, or chemistry or physics. Like it's that's them. But we keep give them, this fucking nerds or the IQ test, right? Who the fuck qualifies you? That is so narrow. There's been studies for like decades that there are multiple intelligence. I'm not agreeing with the term emotional intelligence. It's kind of weird for me, because like how do you use intelligence? You still use your brain to maneuver yourself with refinement, sophistication, and potency, right? Your emotions and identify them, blah blah blah. Attune yourself to people's emotions. So I like to say that is emotional maturity, but and with other stuff too, but still some sort of intelligence, right? Aesthetic intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, musical intelligence, right? Um, they don't calculate that, with IQ. It's pattern recognitions, abstract, cognition and everything, and a lot of numbers. Sometimes people cannot, they're not that, you know, they're just not that. And if they prepare for that and they get a good score, then they cheat. So yeah, it's not, I don't like that. And again, who assess your IQ? Fucking nerds. Why do we give them such, why do we pedestalize them as if they're so smart? Well, yeah, they went through college. I don't give a fuck. If there's like subjects that you can learn by yourself and with other people or whatever, but in real life and make tests or whatever, then you don't need a PhD. You don't need to go through institutionalized, academic, dry ass, elitist fucking, school that doesn't care about you. They draw you of your money and they disconsider you, irregardless, right? Unless you become one of them, and I wouldn't want to be that. And again, going back, nerds are just, we just assume, that they're so smart. I don't like. I think I have some books from people that are basically nerds, and I respect them and their books, but still, they're not that. They don't know more than their field of knowledge, right? Very rarely. And when you see them in podcasts or interviews, they speak like a fucking toddler. And if they're youngish, so to speak, they speak again. They went through college, like prestigious colleges or whatever, and they speak like a fucking 15-year-old Fortnite dependent, shit talker. Like, anyway, going back. but it's not as obsessed like a geek. So geeks, I think, are more like um, people who obsess with fantasy worlds, with comic books, superheroes, you name it. I don't really know exactly what is a dork. Like I don't. For me, it's all the same. Again, it's all the same. Nerds are the smart ones, right? Nerds are just like, the Ben Shapiro's, right? Like I know facts. I know facts. Facts don't care about your feelings, bro. Okay, okay. You know that facts can change as we evolve and as we mature, as we grow into maturity. We can find new facts about other things or about those facts or facts that bury those facts. But they want to cling on. That's why the academic world and the science world, it seems like it stagnates. Is because people in power there, people who know it all, that type of persons, they don't want to give uh, credence to other people or other theories or whatever, right? You need like vast amount of research, a lot of people, but even then they're like, no, my theories or this facts or whatever are what's up now, and it's probably until they die, and maybe then things will shift after decades. That's why in a way you can say we don't advance in science that fast. This is a weird description, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Dorks might tell goofy jokes or have quirky habits. Yeah, we know the fucking um what is that word, out of tune with the crowd, with people, with social interactions. Like they just like, unlike nerds and geeks, they define trait isn't intellect. Nerds have rarely have intellect. They have a mind, a thinking mind. Yeah, well, intellect is not just given. Oh, their intellect. No, 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 no. They don't. The fact that you geek about, you nerd about fucking facts and you hoard facts is not, and you marginally make sense of whatever the fuck you know. They have a good memory. I gotta give them that, but it's hard for me to acquire so many facts, about whatever. So their defining trait isn't intellect or passion. It's but the true unique awkward charm. You know, is this like a teenage girl fantasy in a TV show, like a geek that is like charming and actually works out and even the glasses, it looks handsome. No, bro, it's not. Real life, real life geeks and nerds and dorks, monstrous looking. They don't care. They don't take care of themselves, their hygiene and anything, right? They're fucking mean. Also, I kind of get it why they get beat up sometimes. I mean, a lot of times. Sorry. Hey, I'm not gonna read this. It's just no. Now here I searched negative qualities just to see if they give me anything because I know. But negative connotations of nerds. Many nerds are introverted. That is not in itself a negative, you know, quality, and may struggle with social interactions, leading to being misunderstood or being seen as aloof. Their intense focus on details and perfection can make, oh my god, can be perceived as nitpicking and overly critical. They are. That's it. They are. Nerds are that. They're preachy. They're know-it-all. They are overly critical. Sometimes they don't even criticize you if they're not in the mood or if they don't have the energy or they know you're gonna say something, aggressive, or you're gonna like slap them because shut the fuck up, bitch. Like we collectively are fucking tired of this preachy nerdy shit. Like we know better because we study. I educate myself. I study myself, but still I try. I'm not a snob, most definitely, and it's like if I say something to somebody that I know that don't know, I want to take them in. I try to make them understand. I try to see if they understand, if they can make sense. I try to make it um, interesting, right? Not just cold facts. Bro, I know this. You don't know. I know you don't know because I'm a nerd and I'm just better. I know. Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. They're misunderstood. And they're seen. They are aloof and cold. They are. That is linked up with their assumed and perceived superiority complex and inferiority. But they will never admit that. They will only admit the superiority, at least to themselves, right? Look at me, I'm doing that. Yeah, they're doing something that bullies, especially, they don't do. Bullies are more vital in energy, and they have no time. They just work out. They play games. They are more body oriented. Their acquiring of knowledge and ultimately wisdom is, in my opinion, fake, but like protracted and unhealthy and inauthentic. Being introverted, yeah, I'm an introvert myself. I know I'm more. I can I can become, especially now, right? I'm 28, so I'm grown. I can become more extroverted, but I just don't want to. So I cannot really be like, I don't know what it's called, like introvert or omnivore. I don't know. I don't care. Uh, I like being an introvert. I like being what I am. Um, Struggle with social interactions. They probably forever will, unless they become those slimy. There are some nerds who become that. I've seen it. You know, some sort of pickup artist guy. Artist. Can't believe we make everything art. Art is not. Everything is not art, bro. Now a little bit about bullies, because I said I'm gonna talk about bullies too. Um, Here I searched nice qualities about bullies, and they really only gave me. And to be honest, they kind of are for the most part negative qualities. They enjoy aggression and re- the rewards gained from aggression acts, lack empathy, lack guilt for the action, lack empathy for the victim, of course. Yeah, they're pretty cruel and crude. Dominating and like to be in charge, having aggressive role models, usually a father or some older person, older dude in a group in their hood or whatever. Thinking unrealistically about how the world should meet their needs or how they should acquire those needs. Um, yeah, yeah, you could say that. Usually through fighting, aggression, demanding. They're so entitled, right? Bullies are shit. because you just because your father is not there or is there but is like a bad influence, or your mom, I don't know, it doesn't mean people have to suffer, you know. Maybe DNGs, right? Dorks and nerds, yeah, sometimes they need a slap. No, I'm kidding. But they are insufferable, both of them. You know, all of them really. Popular kids also, like they're like popular kids. You know, they just, I don't know how they acquire that popularity. Probably because at the time they kind of like look okay-ish. I don't know really. I don't know what factors into that. No, again, nerds will fucking betray you. I gravitate towards nerds always, and geeks and dorks because, and just weird, and because there was nobody else. I couldn't be friends really with. I didn't like him, with popular kids or the bullies, right? Which is funny because I kind of like at the end of high school, I kind of befriended the bullies. They were like nicer. They kind of like chill down, and and I've seen them like they don't even work out. They're fucking they're just so weak and pussies, and they avert their gaze, and they cannot hold eye contact, and yeah, and it's like the fuck you're gonna do now? You are so fucking tough and aggressive and always fighting and big in high school, and now it's just the things that I can do, like it's fucking incredible. I'm so proud of myself of becoming who I am. But again, nerds, again, they have this superiority thing about themselves, right? They think they're just better, automatically better, automatically because they think they study. Sometimes they don't even study. They just nerd about on internet, 4chan or whatever. Um, they would just dismiss and devalue you, especially if you're not like them. They knew I'm not like them, but I was orbiting around them, or they around me. They were never my friends. And again, looking back, they were all actually, all of them, fucking nerds. Way more nerdy than I was. I was just a guy. Um, I remember one time, I think I put this on TikTok, but it's, I'm gonna say it here too. So, I was watching TV shows because I didn't have anything else to do, really. It was high school, whatever. And at that time, I liked some TV shows. My favorite one being Dexter, but I think I've overwatched it. So at that time, I didn't watch them. So I was into Sons of Anarchy, True Blood, fucking great. Really great TV shows. Not the most amazing, not the most complex, with the most complex and profound dialogues, uh, plot, or characters, right? Supernatural might beat them, to be honest. But the first seasons, they're great. Some characters are great, or character arcs, so to speak. It's not anime, it's not that long, but still. And I try to convince this nerd that it was like my bench mate, or stay in the same bench. And yeah, I'm gonna watch. And he said something like, "Oh, I watched like 2 episodes. It's not for me. It's garbage." It's like garbage. What the fuck? Oh, fuck you up. Shut the fuck up. And then trying to convince me that not even to watch. I mean, yeah, to watch, but mostly to convince me that whatever he's watching is better and is like dog shit. It's for kids or girlies, right? But he didn't even watch those things, right? Like the originals or Vampire Diaries or Teen Wolf, right? I think Teen Wolf, yeah. I watched them myself, but few seasons, maybe 2 or 3. Like it doesn't. Those are for girls. They're not bad really, but it's overly sentimental and music and whatever. And this guy told me that the Arrow, that guy from DC universe, the Green Arrow, something, I don't know, a bootleg Hawkeye slash, I don't know, what was that guy? Not Peter Pan. The guy who stole the goods and money from the rich, and I don't care. And the Flash, and it's like, and I was like, God, they're so corny and so. It's like I'm watching, like, definitely like a bootleg, like Superman or Supergirl, I couldn't watch. I couldn't see one episode. I would see things on YouTube, and I was like, fucking. I think that was one of the key moments when I was like, I don't like these people, and they talk behind your back, and they're gossipy, and feminine, and weird looking, scoliosis and shit, because they sit and they play video games hundreds of hours on end, and is not healthy, no movement, no, vitality. They don't have the vitality that the bullies have. But the way the bullies, like, employ it is in a negative way, right? Beating people up, talking shit, trying to scare, intimidate people. Yeah, I cannot really say many good. I mean, any really good things about bullies. They were what they were. That was their personality. It was decided and unrelenting in being that. It was categorical. I am this every morning. When they will leave you alone, in their mind is like, oh my, they pitied you. It was like pity, or a lower version of, you know, of compassion, so to speak, because you couldn't fight back. I couldn't even, me at the time. I was so skinny, so weak, even in spirit. They were either big and already strong, like they wouldn't work out. Obviously, the pussies, like dorks, the pussies, right? Like they do like two repetitions of, like, I don't know, tricep extension and be like, oh, it hurts. Oh my, yeah, yeah, it hurts you if you never did it. I know. Or if you took a long break, but even then, it doesn't really hurt. Or if you do like I do, I work out consistently, but for me, hurt will probably be Tom Platz type of workout, or Dorian Yates, right? Blood and guts. That was the thing. Yeah, I don't want to go insane. Yeah, that's not, no. But you should go past the basic pain, threshold of pain, and be accustomed with it, and then it's not pain, and then it's just like, it's actually, it becomes like an itch. You have to work out. um Nerds will never do that, and I have so many instances in my mind of trying to convince nerds to, like, oh, working out is good for you, is for health. You don't have to become, like, you're not gonna become anyway, you're pussy, um big and muscular and actually strong and attractive, and no, but for your health. And it's like, they have this weird entitlement and arrogance about themselves. Again, I remember this one was like a childhood friend, which I found out that wasn't my friend, at the time. And pussified, feminine bitch ass that would drink like a lot of coffee, and I was like, that, I don't think that's really good for you, and you can use that energy for working out. Like, I work out, I think it's good. And he's like, no. I said no, and no. He's like, okay, fucking dork, go and play fucking video games. And as far as reading, because there's this factor, right? They read a lot or whatever. If they read, they don't read all of them. Um, it's fucking Warhammer 4K, whatever fantasy. It's like a girl, It's like, each with their own really, but I like to be in reality and quality also. I think Warhammer is pretty cool, but like not everything. It's like hundreds of books. It's the same universe. It's the same bullshit. And again, you live in this reality, whether you like it or not, and you don't know anything about it. You don't know anything really real about humans, about interactions, about relationships, about the economy, anything about your country, how it works, who is in power, um, anything philosophy, and that is important because we all philosophize. It's just like a lesser version of compared to like a real philosopher that does that as a profession or as that's them, and many other fields, right? They don't live in reality. They you cannot really talk to them about anything unless like superficial things, like you do with women, right? Just to keep it tight. So yeah, I did heard stories that bullies don't stop being bullies and they try to like be that still. Again, many of them they drop that again because of certain requirements from them, right? Social integration, having a steady job, people liking them actually. Yeah. No, they don't change. And as you have seen, I've read what the internet says, and when people say on the internet, a lot of them find them charming and quirky in their quirkiness, but it's like, bro, they're just not good people. How do you? It's probably, to be honest, one of the worst people out there. Just so you fucking know, they think they're better than you automatically. You might know better, you might know more things and better than them, but they're a geek. They identify with that, and in their mind is a positive view. And also, I cannot, like, I don't like gossip. I don't read gossip. You cannot escape gossiping, but the vile shit that, let's sit down for hours and sit and talk shit about whoever. That's them. They will do that endlessly. Um, or if they don't, they still have like parts of them that is like just weird, just like that thing. They're aloof and cold. Yeah, they dismiss you, they devalue you. They again, it's linked up with their superiority complex. Um, they're just not good people, bro. If I were to choose between bullies and nerds nowadays, I would exclude both of them, obviously, in this body and with my mind. But I'll probably gravitate towards the bullies or the nerds, but I would fucking dominate them. Yeah, they will not find any respite. I'll bully them, but differently, not with violence or really even aggression. Just like your lesser being. Um, again, we all have nerdy things about us, especially men. We again, the most commonplace is collecting things, right? Whatever it is, um, and that can be a fixation, like a nerdy, a geeky, whatever. But not all of us are full-fledged like dorks. Just maybe you have your face. I don't know if I ever had it. No, no. Just thank God I was normal. it's so funny how they classify awkwardness, you know, debilitating, disgusting, weird, antisocial awkwardness with and linking up with, you know, interlocking with being charming, so making them almost human and desirable even, but enough to be, you know, you can be friends with them, you cannot be friends, you're not, no. Anyway, this is my first video in a long time, and I'm gonna make another video, probably playing Alan Wake 1. I played a little bit. I want to see how it goes while filming and reacting to it. Yeah. Hope they don't get this down. Yeah. Fucking dorks, man. Don't be that. If you are, stay in the house. I swear to God. And for bullies, just shut the fuck up. You're not all that, really. Like, you never were. You just, and you're gonna be a pussy eventually. It's always like that. They